This is a simple practice to support the flow and vitality of our urinary system from the lens of her waters. And the best thing we can do to support a healthy urinary system is drinking plenty of water. I have not experienced directly, but I've heard that kidney stones are one of the most painful things that we can experience. And one of the ways that we can prevent that is from making sure we're well hydrated. And so if you have some water nearby, drink that water, let it enter your urinary system via the digestion, bringing it into the kidneys, letting that be filtering through and continuing that pathway to the bladder. Thank you, water. So before we start our physical practice, overview of the urinary system. We have our two kidneys. They're about the size of our fist, and they're located toward the back under the rib cage, and they poke just underneath the ribs, and they're in the lower part of our rib cage. And then we have these two ducts that connect from the kidneys called the ureters that travel down to our bladder. And our bladder is like a balloon that's a triangle shape is what it is referenced as, that holds what we are needing to eliminate. And then we have our urethra to continue that process. So beginning with our hands and awareness of our kidneys. So we can just start by placing a hand in the front and one in the back, like so. And first just finding contact and awareness of this incredible organ. We have these two kidneys that filter so much blood each day, that are responsible for sorting what we need to eliminate, all the toxins and waste that we don't need to keep in our body. And so just placing that awareness here with our hands, and then our breath, our lungs naturally bring a massage to our kidneys. So as we inhale, we fill up around the rib cage, and then as we exhale, the respiratory diaphragm lifts up, and there's kind of a lifting sensation we can get with our kidneys. Inhale, lower down as our respiratory diaphragm relaxes, and then exhale. There's a natural lift. And we'll continue this motion, our hands just accentuating that movement of our breath. So inhale, our respiratory diaphragm relaxes down to fill up our lungs. So there can be a sense of grounding and lengthening through the kidney. And as we exhale, our respiratory diaphragm lifts up, and there's a sense of lifting on the kidney. And we'll go to the other side, beginning with the hand in the front and the back, just breathing awareness to this side. And as we bring awareness to our breath, this is also automatically connecting with our pelvic diaphragm, our pelvic floor, which can really support the function and health of our bladder. So again, I'll show from the side. So like so. We have the inhale is a lengthening down of the kidney. Exhale, a drawing up. Again, because that's moving with the diaphragm. Inhale, lengthen down. Exhale, the kidney, and it draws up. And now we're going to bring that motion into a gentle cat and cow pose. So coming to hands and knees. And first just looking down, let your head be neutral. And we're going to bring in that awareness of breathing into the kidney space right now. So inhaling. And not even needing to do much. Just notice as we inhale what happens to our back. Exhale, what happens to our back. So now intentionally as we inhale, think of the kidneys lengthening down, which might continue that scooping of our sacrum and tailbone to create a little curl and puff. So this would be cat pose. So as we inhale, that lengthening down as the diaphragm reaches down. Exhale, there's a lifting up of the diaphragm and the kidneys lift up. Our sacrum starts to lift up as well. Now we'll do that motion moving from the kidneys as we breathe. Inhale, kidneys lengthen down the back. Exhale, kidneys lift. And we'll do two more like this. Great. And now we'll come to a seat. I'm going to grab a pillow. So you're welcome to have a pillow or a blanket that you can roll and be on the top, the front side of that. Coming into where our sits bones are, just on the front edge of either a pillow or a blanket. And so what we're wanting to do is tilt the pelvis forward. So now what we're going to be focusing in on is this pelvic diaphragm, specifically the triangle that's in the front part of the pelvic diaphragm or the pelvic floor. There's two triangles, the front and then the back to make a diamond. And we're right now going to be focusing on the front part of the pelvic diaphragm to consciously bring in what is often known as Kegels, but this sensitivity and awareness of the lifting and releasing of our pelvic diaphragm with our breath for our bladder support. Specifically for women who have had children, given birth, there can be a challenge with when we laugh or have sudden surprises. Sometimes we'll have leakages that happen, and that's because the fascia of this area has been stretched, or these muscles just need to get a little bit more toned, and that's why Kegels are so encouraged in physical therapy and whatnot for women's health. Also, as we age, the elasticity and changes of our bladder is what happens over time. And so this is good at any stage of our life, is just to bring in this nuanced appreciation of our breath and our pelvic diaphragm. So we've already talked about breathing into the kidneys as we inhale. That lengthens the diaphragm down to fill up our lungs. So right now with our hips tilted forward and a sense of more ground through the sits bones, and those are the bony contacts of our pelvis. And with that ground and then tilting forward the front end of the triangle, we'll just notice a little lift of the chest and keep this chest lifted. And now as we inhale, a little lengthen and releasing down through the pelvic diaphragm as well. As we exhale, there's a contracting of the low belly as we keep the chest lifted, and there's a subtle lift of our pelvic diaphragm. And we'll continue that, inhaling, release down, ground through the sits bones. Exhale. There's a sense of lift coming up. And inhale. Release and relax that breath all the way down into the pelvic diaphragm, almost widening the sits bones, grounding there. Exhale, draw belly against the spine, keep chest lifted. And now adding in, so we don't have to do so much of a a forced squeezing of these muscles. It is automatically happening when we're in this position. So again, another visual is to bring this awareness of these muscles and sense how they come together and lift, all from the center point, and then lifting up as we exhale. As we inhale, releasing and opening, widening, grounding. So we'll do 5 rounds of breath, arms on knees, chest lifted, and bringing that awareness to the diaphragms, our respiratory and pelvic diaphragm. Breathing through the nose if possible. So 5 rounds of breath. Belly against the spine as you exhale. Keep chest lifted and release. So that is something that's so simple we can do daily to bring in the toning and awareness of our pelvic diaphragm and our respiratory diaphragm. Also so good for calming the nervous system, which can support kidney health because our adrenals are right above our kidneys, and when we are in a state of being overly alert or stressed, that can also have an impact of our kidney health. So now we're going to remove the pillow or blanket. This next, however, you might want to keep it for this. So we're going to come into a squat. It's nice to have the heels lifted on a blanket or a pillow if that's supportive in your body. So you can have your heels come onto the pillow or the edge of a blanket, and decide if that feels supportive. And the idea there is to then feel the ground through the heels And then you can play around tipping forward on the balls of the feet. Notice what happens in the pelvic diaphragm there when we're tipped forward, or if we're more grounded in our heels. Kind of a rocking back and forth there. And side to side. And then we're going to bring our elbows to the inside of our knees and lift the chest. And the same action of breath that we've been doing with the kidneys and then also the pelvic diaphragm. As we inhale, imagine a lengthening down the back. So you can even bring your hands to your kidney and encourage this lengthen down, and at the same time lengthening through the sacrum, which is the base of our spine right here. So this lengthen as we inhale down to lift the chest up, keep the chest lifted. And then as we exhale, there's a slight lift of the kidney and the sacrum. So really what we're doing is showing how connected our breath is and the health of our breath and these diaphragms with our urinary system. So we'll start with bringing elbows to the inside of knees. Keep chest lifted. And inhale. Lengthen through the kidneys, lengthen through the sacrum. Exhale. Drawing belly against the spine. There's a slight curling up of the sacrum and up of the kidneys. Inhale. Grounding down to the heels as you inhale. Lift chest. Lengthen through the back body. Exhale. There's a sense of lifting the pelvic diaphragm, belly against spine as we exhale. We'll do 3 more rounds here. And really at the end of this exhale, you can even really notice belly against the spine and a lifting up of the pelvic diaphragm. Okay, and we're gonna come to a squat, or not a squat, a horse stance now. So the legs are wide, and feel free to do any sort of movement after that squat before we do this next one. And now, keeping awareness of our feet, our pelvis, we're going to rotate around our pelvis, doing soft wrists to hit the front of this point is a lung meridian point, and on the back, the opposite hand gently taps the kidney. And so I'm just going to move the computer lamp. There we go. So you can see. And it's like so. I'm looking back and doing this whole rotation through my spine, sending this gentle tapotment to my kidneys and this lung meridian, while getting a really great spinal twist. And remembering to breathe. Remember to feel the floor under your feet. Stable pelvis here. And we'll come back to center. Okay, taking a few moments to just let that all settle. We'll come back to a seat that is supported with the sits bones tilting forward. And what can help is grabbing the fleshy part of your upper thigh and buttock and just moving it back to encourage that forward tilt on the sits bones. So we're just going to bring all of this information and let it start to settle into our urinary system. You're welcome to close your eyes and feel the ground and support under your seat and this contact under the sits bones. And from this ground to start to lift the spine up, chest lifts. And then from this lift, you're welcome to keep eyes closed or you can open them. We're going to lift arms up, inhale, and exhale, twisting over towards the left, and let your right hand come to your left knee, back, or your left fingers come to the floor. And then here, we're going to really ground through the right sits bone. And so from that ground, we're going to lift the spine up and slowly twist over towards the left. And from here, think of the kidneys as we breathe. So inhale, lengthen down the back. Exhale, lifting the kidneys to get perhaps a little deeper into the twist. Not cranking with our arms. We'll do 2 more breaths here. Inhale, grounding through the right sits bone, lengthen through the back. Exhale, lift with the breath, perhaps a little deeper into the twist. And then we'll inhale, both arms come back up. You're welcome to keep your legs how they are. If you want to switch whichever foot's in front, you're welcome to do that. Arms inhale, lift. Exhale, twisting from the kidneys. Exhale, that lifting up as we twist over to the right. Ground through the left sits bone. Left hand to the right knee. Right hand behind. You can tent up on your fingers. Inhale, lengthening down the back, ground through the sits bones, especially the left. Exhale, lift, and perhaps go deeper into the pose. And then we'll do this for 3 more breaths. Inhale, arms reach back up. Exhale, hands come in front to just do a little gentle forward fold, chin to chest. And rock side to side. Coming back up. We're going to bring our left foot in front. You can move the pillow or blanket to the side. Our right leg behind, so we're in 90-degree angles here. And we're going to lift up our right hip to inhale, reach right arm up and then exhale, twisting over the left knee. And as we do this, pressing through the inner right arch of the foot. And now we're just doing a little toning for the pelvic diaphragm with the inner legs. We're going to possibly, it's okay if you don't actually lift the leg here or the foot, but you can lift the right foot up if it's available, or even just energetically lift. For 5 times, just these little pulses. If that is in any way pinchy to the low back, stay with the foot grounded and just lift and energetically draw the knee down into the floor. That can also get that line that we're aiming for the pelvic diaphragm. And we'll inhale, come back to center, and other side. Right knee in front, left knee behind, 90-degree angles. And this left hip can really lift up as we reach left arm up. And then think of twisting from the kidney as we exhale, that lengthening up to then create that length in the spine to twist. And again, you can stay here with just pressing the foot and the knee, the inner left knee into the earth, or you might lift your left foot up for 5 times. Okay. We'll come back to center. One of our last poses before we close. This one can be very strong. So again, support your seat if you want to put a blanket or a pillow underneath. It's strong, but it's really great for creating that sense of space for our side body, for our kidneys to have optimal function. And so if you are propping yourself up, once again, tilt so your pelvis is on your sits bones are on the edge of the pillow. And then we're going to bring our left hand to the earth. You might just keep your left hand to the earth and elbow lifted. And we'll stay here to start. And let your head be somewhat engaged in space, not just hanging down and not over efforting. So finding that little balance point. And then think of your right fingertips being heavy and lengthening down. This can be a nice neck stretch too. And keep lengthening down through the right sits bone. And if you want to, you're welcome to bring your left elbow to the earth. And then from here, we're going to bring right fingertips behind the ear. Reach your arm up overhead, getting this whole stretch. Ground through the right sits bone. And as we inhale, lift the chest, look up a little. Exhale, draw your right fingertips forward. Inhale, right thumb back, lift chest. Exhale, fingertips forward. Keep grounding through the right sits bone. Inhale, right thumb back, little arch of the chest. Exhale, sweep your hands forward. And last one, inhale, right thumb back, look up. And exhale, let your right arm come back to its side. And then as if the right hand gets really heavy, right sits bone heavy, slowly curl yourself back to a seat. And just feel and notice if there is a difference side to side. And we'll do the other side. So starting right hand to the earth and allowing your head to get into that position that it's buoyant and being held by our neck, but not overstraining. Ground through the left sits bone. Left fingers heavy to get a nice side stretch of the neck. And as you breathe here, that same action as we inhale, lengthen the kidneys down, ground through the sits bone. As we exhale, a sense of lifting up through the kidneys. And you're welcome to keep your hand and your elbow lifted, or you can bring your right elbow to the earth. Left fingertips come behind the ear. Reach your left hand long. Big side stretch here. Keep grounding through the left sits bones. And then on your inhale, lengthen through your kidney. Look up. Exhale, left fingertips forward. Inhale, left thumb back, chest up. Exhale, fingers forward. Keep that length as you exhale through the back body. Inhale, ground through your sits bone, lift chest, thumb back. Exhale, fingertips forward, last one. Inhale, thumb reaches back. Breathe through the whole side body. And exhale, bring your left hand to your side. Imagine your left hand getting really heavy, left sit bone heavy as you slowly curl back up to a seat, and notice. So we're going to complete this with just bringing our hands once again to these places of our urinary system with this awareness to bring in more flow and optimal function for our kidneys. So again, you can place a hand on the front and to the back. As you inhale, lengthen the kidney down. Exhale, drawing it up. Other side. As you inhale, lengthen the back of the kidney down. Keep the chest lifted. Exhale, drawing that energy back up. And then we'll imagine bringing that loving energy all the way through the ureters, those ducts that then connect to the bladder. We'll place our hands just above the pubic bone. You can find where pubic bone is. And right above there, placing your hands and this loving intention here with our bladder. And as we inhale, that expansion, releasing of the diaphragms and grounding down through our pelvic floor and our sits bones, and allowing space as we release and open and soften those diaphragms for our bladder. And as we exhale, there's a natural lifting up of these diaphragms and a toning and that engagement of our, in yoga it's called Muladhara, or the root bandha, or Kegels. So a couple rounds of breath here with intending this to massage and support our bladder. All right. And we'll take our glass of water if you have one. And sending this love into the water, this gratitude, letting that water to come in and be part of this amazing filtration system in our body. Thank you, water. Thank you for practicing along. I hope this supports your urinary system and a sense of finding balance and ease with our breath, with our diaphragms, and allowing this incredible function of filtering out what we need to release while keeping that hydration and nutrients of what needs to be circulating in our body for optimal vitality. Thank you so much.